Hi everybody, how's everybody doing? Welcome, and I hope you enjoyed tonight's meeting. My name is Lim Ho Chong, and thank you for joining us tonight. I'm excited to be sharing online for my very first time. And so, if you are also joining us for the first time, please let us know your presence by typing a +1 in the question column in the chat room. Find that yourself, okay? I'm also very new with this Microsoft team, and I hope you will navigate around fine. Anyway, I'm your keynote speaker tonight, and I'm going to share about the entrepreneurship, which is all about starting your own business and being your own boss, especially during this COVID-19 crisis and post-COVID. You know, I remember 18 years ago when I first started my entrepreneurial venture with Amway Singapore. It was exactly the time when SARS hit Singapore. And I don't know whether anybody know about SARS. Anybody? Well, if you want to leave a message or two in the, again, like I said, the question column, please do. And let me know that you are still with us and tell me that you're first time as well. Well, SARS, as it is right now, is probably maybe the grandfather of COVID-19. But now that we are in this COVID-19, I feel very strongly that I want to be here to share with you this Amway opportunity that's available to you to start a business venture despite the challenges that we are all facing right now together. Well, some of you may say that the magnitude of SARS and COVID-19 is different. I want to say that when you're right in the center of the crisis, a challenge is a challenge. We really can't tell at that point which is bigger. And I remember in the SARS situation, most of us also didn't know how long this the epidemic is going to last, when the vaccine is going to come out, or even when we may be infected. The chaos is the same. People are anxious, people are panicking, companies and businesses are closing down, and people are losing their jobs. And most of all, everyone is uncertain of our future. But that said, we did not stop ourselves from trying to do anything on our own. So yes, the magnitude right now seems so much bigger. But the point is that the hope for a better future is always the same. And really, I agree that it is true that COVID-19 is of a greater magnitude, really, because one thing for sure, I have never imagined that I would live to see the causeway at our Woodlands checkpoint shut down. And I think on a lighter note, now that I've seen it, it is a sight that you can get to tell your grandchildren. We all know what a car park is, right? Have you ever heard of aeroplane park? If you have a chance to right now travel to Changi Airport, I'm sure you may get to see this phenomenal sight, you know, where you can see the Jetstar airplane, SIA, Silk Air or Scoot, all parked right there at the runway. It could be really a sight, very unforgettable. And from this, we can almost understand that COVID-19 is really serious and big time. But despite all these happenings in Singapore and what is happening around the world, more so now that we are moving into, the phase 1 of the circuit breaker exit, I wish to share with everyone that my personal opinion is that we haven't really seen the tail end of this crisis yet. We are likely not even out of the woods, and I quote Deputy Prime Minister Heng Swee Keat, who is now very affectionately known as the God of Fortune. Cai Sen Ye, right? Well, he said that the future of COVID-19 is still largely uncertain. So I have an interesting picture to show you. On the left, you'll see that it's actually a church. And on the right, it's actually a picture of our Marina Bay Sands Casino. And this brings out the point of the severity of COVID-19. When the heaven, being the church, and hell, being the casino, finally agrees on one thing in common. Everyone should stay at home and stay safe. Then you know this is really a big deal. Well, before we get overly gloomy and serious, I would like to introduce some fresh elements to the table so that we can all make sure that you do not leave this room right now. I know Microsoft Teams is kind of interesting because you really don't know who is watching this with you. Please bear with us, and I hope you stay with us to the end. All right? And I want to introduce two of my very young, energetic, and good-looking speakers. And first, I would like to introduce Clara Wong.
Thank you, Mentor Ho Chung. Hi, everyone. I'm Clara. I'm 26 this year, graduated from the National University of Singapore, also known as NUS, and I was specializing in marketing back then. So currently, I'm working in a multinational corporation, and I still remember back then when I knew about the Amway business, I was still studying my bachelor's degree, and actually I leveraged on the Amway platform to earn some extra cash. I'm actually very thankful to Amway because it provided an opportunity for youngsters, young people, even like me, a chance to actually be our own entrepreneur. So over the years, I managed and expand my Amway business. And right now, I'm very grateful that I have an additional source of income from Amway. Right now, I'd like to pass the time to my business partner and also co-speaker for tonight, Wei Lun, to introduce himself.
Thank you, Clara. Hi, everyone. My name is Wei Lun, and I'm 27 this year. Like Clara, I also graduated from the National University of Singapore, and my degree was in accounting. Subsequently, I actually went on to work in one of the big four accounting firms for about a year. And now I'm actually running the Amway business full-time. My background, my parents are actually hawkers, and we lead a very humble and normal life. But perhaps because of that, entrepreneurship started for me because I wanted to earn more money. And that's why I started to do different businesses when I was only 21 years old. And then when the Amway Business Opportunity came to me, for me, myself, I was already looking for better options to get into business, and this platform fit the bill. So in other words, I think it is important that you want to get into a business or know that you want to get out of perhaps the employee rat race. Okay, so before I pass the time back to our mentor Ho Chung, I think some of you actually already found how to interact with us. I see some of the comments already, but you can actually interact with us through this small icon at the top right-hand corner of your screen that has a little question mark, and it will pop up this thing called My Questions as you see on screen. So ask us any questions as you may have throughout the whole session, and we will do our best to address them when appropriate.
Yep. So please feel free to ask us any questions, and we will see how we can actually answer you.
Oh, thank you, Wei Lun, and thank you, Clara. By the way, I also have a bachelor degree from NUS Business School. Of course, it was like 25 years ago. And if you just join us right now, we are sharing with you the impact of COVID-19 and how we can deal with this by starting your own Amway business venture. So let's continue. I think a lot of us have been hearing people asking, when was the circuit breaker going to end? And really going to end? And when is this COVID-19 crisis ending soon? And so that we can just, all go back to normal. But I guess we now probably already know that there is no going back to normal, only a new normal. But I wish also to share that, interestingly, this is not new to us. And we, as human beings, have been there before. Life is simply different before and after World War II. I guess somebody is saying that, well, World War II, that's too far away, right? Well, my personal experience is that when I was married and when my wife gave birth to our firstborn son, Ethan, my life became a new normal. Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong also said on 7th of June, which is just like a few days ago, the much needed vaccine to combat this coronavirus will take at least 1 more year before it becomes available. And people means us, right? We, the people, must learn to live with COVID-19 for a long time. So I guess there are many instances. How are we going to live with this COVID-19. One, face mask is definitely going to become a part of our lives. And you know, you do not want to go out of the house without this, right? That's a hefty fine to pay. But who knows? It may actually become a fashion statement, isn't it, Clara?
Yes, Mentor Ho Chung, definitely. I really agree with that, right? Because right now, masks have become an unofficial fashion statement. But actually, I think in this situation, it's all about a matter of perspective, right? Because I think some people actually took this as an opportunity where they design their own mask, they create their own mask, and even start a business.
Cool, right? A lot of people always complain that when they go to work in a company, they have to clock in, they have to clock out. But right now, I guess in the future, everywhere you go will be clock in, clock out, and it's endless. Some will say that what kind of freedom is that, right? But I think also that a lot of people have posted on the Facebook that they miss meeting their friends, their families, over gatherings, over lunches, over dinners. They miss that sushi, miss that biryani or spaghetti or whatever. Social gathering just wouldn't be the same anymore because of social distancing. All right, I guess next time, if you ever really have the chance to go out and dine in the restaurant in the future, it will be a different side altogether, because there'll be restrictions to the number of people who can be seated together, and probably even the number of tables the restaurant can serve. And this is a picture I took from the internet showing some people in the Europe already adapting some of the changes in the dining arena. And if you do not like outdoor, maybe you can try the indoor experience as well. But so futuristic and so interesting. But in any way, dining experiences will change.
Yes, I agree with you, Mentor Ho Chung. Right, like I cannot imagine myself being like covered in this glass or like plastic compartment in future when I go out to eat. But like what Mentor Ho Chung actually mentioned, dining experience will change. Right. On top of that, right, even like right now there's so many opportunities to do delivery, like home-based delivery. Okay, but don't worry, what we all discussed earlier is not all that bad. Okay, our point is that young people, you should see this as an opportunity to make change, right? And actually not just the young people. Anyone who wants to try anything new, this is the time to do it right now.
Yes, Clara, yes, absolutely true. It is simply what shoes you are putting on right now. And we will come back to that point later. Okay, next thing, one of our favorite pastime in Singapore, which is watching movies. How about this? When you go to your next movie, soon you'll realize that probably all the seats you have right now will be love seats, couple seats. All right, time to get cozy. And by now, I guess most of us will be very familiar with this site. Online meetings, so regular right now. So regular right now, right? In fact, don't forget, we are now also meeting online. You are in your home, I'm at my home. All right, I only wish that we could actually do this face-to-face, but unfortunately, circumstances does not allow us to do that right now. But WFH, working from home, some new acronyms. And during this circuit breaker period, you know, our government has come up with so many new acronyms. All right, how about you guys jot down what are the acronyms that you can think of? Just to give you a hint, maybe like what? SHN. All right, let us know how much you know about the acronyms that's available right now during this circuit breaker. All right, okay. And on a more serious note, all right, Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg released this statement on the 22nd of May, saying that in the next 5 to 10 years, all right, what he's going to do with Facebook is that 50% of his employees are going to be working remotely. And of course, he has stated quite a number of benefits of doing so. For example, it will be environmentally friendly because of less commuting. And also, as a company, they realize that they do not have to restrict their recruitment, their employment to just a particular city anymore. It means that they can actually get people to work for them not within the same vicinity. In fact, it will be less restrictive. And I thought, when I first read this is like what's happening in US. I mean, we are so far away. But until I read this news article by CNA, just about a few days ago, 2nd of June, and it was actually mentioned by Deputy Prime Minister Heng Swee Keat that in the Fortitude budget, that soon we'll be competing with talent globally. Meaning that, yeah, this work from home idea is going to be so pervasive. And I guess it's going to really affect us in more ways than you can imagine and faster than you think, especially our local employment.
Well, in fact, I'm not sure whether it was for you as well, but in my previous MNC workplace, I think a lot of work is already being outsourced overseas because the staff cost is so much lower. And so it turns out that a lot of times we're having meetings with people across the globe. But I think one question back to our mentor Ho Chung is that but this competition for employment globally that's happening around right now, it probably won't affect everybody, right?
Waylon, I think one thing for sure, all right, we certainly can't outsource our construction workers in a foreign country and still keep them in their hometown, but build our building in Singapore. Not possible, right? Some of this may not be affected, right? But anyway, in a nutshell, I've shared with Waylon and Clara that COVID-19 is really unprecedented. It is called the pandemic of the century, meaning your parents and grandparents probably never seen this before. Your teachers also never seen this before. Your bosses also never seen this before. Even the top political leaders have not seen this either. So no one has all the answers to this situation. And right now, PM Lee, all right, Mr. Lee Hsien Loong, actually calls it the crisis of our generation. That's a very, very, very big term to use. Beyond the public health impact, COVID-19 had become a serious economic, social, and political problem. And specifically in terms of economics, tectonic shifts are taking place in the global economy and impacting Singapore in many, many areas. So there's no playbook to refer to. This crisis has challenged us and disintegrated bulk of the rules that we have all known for a long, long time. It gets that we have to now write our own playbooks as we go along. And this is really a reshuffling of order. And it presents a blank space for everyone to try out whatever you thought was impossible before. So if you have lost your job at 40 right now, what is stopping you from trying something different, something you have never done before? And I guess that applies to any young adults who is just about to join the workforce. And like what Clara has said earlier about home-based delivery, it is just about how we adapt to the situation. So therefore, what is essentially boiling down to is the ability to change and to adapt to situation. And as what Charles Darwin says, the one that survives is the most adaptable to change. And I'd like to now share with you some of these adaptations or evolutions that are happening around the world as we speak. And the first one is this restaurants converting their car park lots into drive-in theaters. Very interesting, right? In fact, when I was growing up, I remember many times going to a drive-in theaters. It's a different kind of experience altogether. We hope to see this in Singapore too. And next, even local Michelin star restaurants are starting to do home delivery. Can you imagine? Even Michelin star, we hear a lot about our hawkers doing delivery right now. Even Michelin star restaurants are doing that as well. I mean, can you imagine if they don't adapt and they are not going to do this? How are they going to do their business? And passenger airplanes, who used to carry passengers, travelers, and then having the beautiful stewardess serving them with all the the meals, right now they are converting them to just only carrying cargoes. And this is really happening. I did not Photoshop all these pictures as well. And one particular example I want to show you right now is none other than Grab. In the past, we all know that Grab is primarily a transportation company. And you can see from the slide is that transport is their first priority in their service. But since the circuit breaker started in Singapore, we realized that they have changed the format. And right now, food is actually their top priority. So can you imagine, in order to survive, so many companies are adapting and changing the way they operate. It's just how you can make sure that you survive. And interestingly, somebody also brought up to me that as a company, Grab has so many different sources of income. They have transport, they have food, they have delivery, they have tickets, they have hotel. There's so many things. Even a company has so many different sources of income. I mean, so it also means that as an individual, maybe it's important to make sure that we also cannot just rely on one single source of income. And again, change and adapting is not new. And I want to remind everyone that we have seen this many times and in many forms. During the beginning of the 21st century, we have the internet digital age. And at that time, we saw many companies fail because they simply cannot evolve and change with the technological advancement. But there are actually companies who thrive because of the internet technology, because they choose to adapt and evolve in tandem.
Yes, I really agree with you, Mentor Ho Chong. Because I remember some of the companies who actually didn't adapt, and that's why they actually had a lot of issues. Like, for example, Kodak, right? Kodak didn't embrace the age of digital cameras, okay? Or like BlackBerry, right? They totally ignored touchscreen technology. So that's why you can see right now there's so many countries, so many companies who are trying to adapt right now for survival. And personally, I've actually seen a lot of people going into Facebook, right? And they're selling like raw seafood, tidbits. Okay, that's not what they did initially, but we can see that they are really trying to adapt.
Indeed, I see a lot of things that Clara mentioned as well that's going on on Facebook. And I want to add that it's not only companies that need to adapt. I think we need to adapt too. I remember from a debate show that I watched, the topic was that you should stay in a company that actually requires you to OT all the time. And one of the main points of argument is that you shouldn't, because you're going to lose all the time that you have after work to pick up a new skill. And this new skill is very important because once your job becomes obsolete, either by the trend that's ongoing around the world or even this COVID-19, you are still very adaptable.
Well, thank you, Welun, and thank you, Clara, again. I think what they just said sends one very important message, which is in every crisis, there are those who fall and there are those who rise. And the ones who rose are simply those who adapted better. And I think, therefore, it's important that we remind ourselves right now, stop blaming COVID-19 for everything. I think we should stop blaming COVID-19 for the loss of your job. Stop blaming COVID-19 for the failure in your business or whatever. In essence, I believe that COVID-19 merely exposed how weak the fundamentals of some of these businesses and jobs are. Instead, we should be reflecting upon what could be done better to change and to adapt. And I believe, and I want to share with you that Amway can be that change opportunity and option for you. It was for me. And so it can be for you too, only if you have the willingness to adapt. And if you join us, if you just join us, we are sharing again the impact of COVID-19 and how we can deal with this by starting your own Amway business venture. All right, so I've spent 18 years of my prime building an Amway business since the SARS period. In my opinion, Amway is a legitimate and business venture because I think it has three key elements. One, being the product. Two, customers. Three, service. I want to say that I have good products developed and provided by Amway so that I can offer to my prospect and offer to my customers. I build and expand my customer base through my social networks, social connections with Amway's online and offline infrastructure. If you have the chance, you may want to visit our website, amway.sg, just to take a look how powerful our e-commerce can be. But on the other hand, if you also have the opportunity to take a ride to Raffles Hotel, you'll find our city shop located right opposite Raffles Hotel. And I continue also to sustain my business with high service level assisted by Amway's functional resources, be it marketing, logistics, or finance. Last but not least, I believe just like any other businesses, Amway, to be successful, you need that sheer perseverance and hard work.
Yes, I really agree with you, Mentor Ho Chong. In any business, even the Amway business, we need perseverance and hard work. Right now, I think there are many people or like many friends out there who are thinking, and this is also one of the Q&As actually, there are so many different business ventures out there. Why should they start and run the Amway business?
Okay, thank you, Clara. I think the biggest challenge of any responsible government right now amidst this COVID-19 crisis lies between saving lives and saving livelihood. In order to save lives, most governments have resorted to halting all social and economic activities, and thus livelihood in general are seriously affected. So in fact, 95% of global businesses and economic activities have virtually ground to a halt, and many have bowed out. We have heard that even the largest rental company, Hertz, has gone bankrupt, just to name that particular single one. But then don't forget, there are 5% of them being active and even prospering despite all these difficult conditions. These are now what we all know as essential service. So Amway is an essential business of nature that has been running perpetually since the circuit breaker in Singapore, and not just restricted to Singapore. I want to share with you this range of essential products that we are offering as a company. We have a lot of cleaning products, and in fact, Amway started with cleaning products. And yes, I know, a lot of them were saying that, hey, they are not exciting at all. Not creative at all, not glamorous. I know, but they are essentially needed every day by everyone. You know, I always like to talk to my friend and share my friend. Do you think I really like to sell detergent powder? You know, I only want to sell detergent powder because people are wearing and washing their clothes. It's that simple. It's that essential. So companies who have failed during this period, despite their past glories, generally face one problem right now: cash flow. If they are not in the essential business, likely they have no sales. When you have no sales, you have no income. But then don't forget, all these companies still have large amounts of overheads that they have to pay. And this is exactly the weakness of fundamental that I was trying to say earlier. To sum it up, if what Prime Minister Lee said is correct, that vaccine won't be available for another 1 more year, meaning most of us could be stuck in this situation for likely an extended period of time. Imagine 1 more year of reduced sales, 1 more year of reduced income. how many businesses and jobs will be left at the end of the day? It's that serious.
Yes, I really agree with you, Mentor Ho Chong. I see that being in the point is that being in a business of essential service is truly vital for sustainability. I think some of you might be wondering, on the Amway platform, is there only essential products like bath soap and detergent? Right? If you're looking at the slides right now, you can see that Amway also has a skincare and beauty brand called Artistry. Right? So, and I'm sure like right now, beauty, all right, is definitely an essential product right now, because I'm sure, COVID or not, you are still washing your face, right? Again, I think this is one reason why I really like the Amway business, because it gives people like me who are interested in beauty to also actually build our own beauty business on top of all the other essential products that the company has. And I believe, Wei Lun, you're doing health and fitness through the Amway platform, right?
Yes, Clara. No, absolutely. I think before we touch on that, I think we need to accept one thing, that is, if you want to do a business in general, you need either a product or a service. And most of us tend to engage in a business that we have interest in. So I actually have a friend who is very, very into yoga. So she's looking to sell like yoga apparels and equipments. So it's almost always along the lines. So Clara herself, she is doing skincare, beauty. And for myself, I'm interested in health and fitness. And that is perfectly complemented with the Amway platform, because we also have our own nutrition and wellness line called Nutrilite. So it is especially essential, I think, because we are not taking, I think in general, people are not taking a wide range of food and fruits that our body needs on a daily basis. And that results in many, many nutritional gaps. And much like washing your face is like an everyday thing, many are taking supplements on a daily basis, be it your fish oil, be it your vitamin C. And I think from an entrepreneur point of view, you can even argue that you do not need to carry products that you like, but just to be involved with the products that has a huge market behind it. Like what like what Mentor Ho Chong mentioned earlier, that it's not that he likes to sell detergent powder, but it's because everyone is washing and wearing clothes. So I think that's the main gist of it, that products has a huge market behind it. And in Amway, there are actually 450 over essential products and products that you need on a day-to-day basis.
Yes, Wilun, I really agree with you on that point. And I'm sure right now, all of us, we get it, that Amway is a business with essential nature, right? I think on top of that, some of our friends here might also be wondering, like, what is an additional edge, or what are the additional edge that Amway can be offering as an essential business, because they can actually look into other business opportunity as well.
Oh, great. Thank you, Clara. And thank you, Wilun, again. I think one of the things I want to talk about an edge is that Amway is being a riskless entrepreneurship. The common understanding is very simple: high risk, high return; low risk, low return; and no risk, no return. So it is very difficult to understand to start with that all you need is a mere $30 to start an Amway business and still be able to generate a good return. When I started this business 18 years ago during SARS, I thought I can start this business only because there was no capital outlay requirement. I can give it a try, because if I fail, I have nothing to lose. But if I succeed, that's another different story. So many of us will be surprised to know that this business has no capital outlay, but essentially it's true. And therefore, it was like a riskless business to me. And given the current situation, it is certainly making sense, it's really making sense to try out something new with extremely low capital outlay.
This is really interesting, Mentor Ho Chong, because 18 years ago, you joined the Amway business because there's no capital outlay. Years later, I joined the business because of the exact same reason, no capital outlay. Because back then, I was very young, and I also didn't have much capital to start business all by myself. I think more importantly, during this current COVID situation, right, the consequences of doing a business with risk is more apparent. Like, for example, I can think of, let's say I'm doing a 7-Eleven franchise, which actually sells essential products. However, with the stay-home advisory from the government, right, I may be facing low traffic, and low traffic means low sales. But I will still incur every month rental costs to pay, and rental is always a problem for all people who have physical space. If let's say we actually do a business on like a side gig, putting our products on Shopee or like Lazada, right? If my products don't sell right now, I not only have excess inventory to deal with, on top of that, right, I also have to incur capital outlay because I'm using the Shopee and Lazada platform.
All right, thank you, Clara. I think I want to interject at this point because I can totally relate with my own experience. So I want to share a little bit about what I did back in my little e-commerce stint. So when I was in New York City about 2-3 years ago, I wanted to start a business. And of course, I want to start a business, I need either a product or service. So at that time, I actually went on to do like a luxury umbrella because I wanted to change the whole umbrella scene in New York. I'll save you the backstory. But the point is, I needed inventory before I can start the business. And that is the product part that we're talking about. And this inventory cost alone was already $5,000 US. And perhaps the future of businesses will very much be digitalized beyond this COVID-19. We have seen a lot of e-commerce come up, and we know that it has so much edge over physical shops that are around the world right now. And so that just means that you need a lot of online capabilities, such as like a website, you need payment gateways, you need feedback channels, you need business emails, etc. And I remember the monthly cost to upkeep all these domains was actually about $45 US per month. And true, that's not a lot, but those are still costs that run every month. And so with the sunk cost actually of like a $5,000 plus the monthly variable cost, I think many will not take the leap of faith to actually do a business. But yet with Amway, you do not need to bear the inventory cost of the products. Neither do you need to build a website because Amway has it. Neither do you need to open a shop because Amway has it. And they will pay for the rental and the staff costs. You do not even need to bear a single overhead. So really to get your foot into the business, the capital is really merely $30. So I remember back when I was in the accounting firm, when I was presented with this, I thought, it was definitely worth taking a shot. And $30 to buy an opportunity to change your life, like it did for our mentor Ho Chong, I think is probably, the best deal that you're ever going to find.
Yes, I really agree with you, Waylon. So I think everyone we understand that riskless is one of the edge that Amway offers, right? No capital outlay. Amway manages 90% of the challenges faced by startups, and we don't have to worry about undue risk. On top of riskless, right, simplified is one of the other reasons, and also one of the main reasons why I really like the Amway platform. Like I mentioned earlier, I do not come from a family background where my parents are entrepreneurs. They were very normal employees, right? And also back then I was very young. But the very beautiful thing about Amway is that the entrepreneur journey was packaged with guided experience, product and tools, and also a community of mentors to support me along the way. I can imagine how tough it is to start a business with absolutely no experience and no connections. Furthermore, like what Waylon mentioned, I don't have to worry about shipment and logistics, product quality, or like shop rental and even employees, right? Because Amway manages all this. So I like it that I can be an entrepreneur, but I don't have to worry about many of the challenges that traditional business owners face, especially during this COVID-19 situation. I think many companies are incurring additional delivery costs, but Amway settles this for us and ensure that all the products are sent to our customers timely, yet all of us do not incur any additional cost.
Thank you, Clara, on that simplified part. From me, I just want to share with everybody that when you start this business, you are not going to start this business alone. I share with you the founders of Amway's philosophy that when you are building this business for yourself, but you'll never do it by yourself. And Amway is effectively my first entrepreneur venture. And I was able to achieve a good result out of it only because someone was holding my hand and showing me the ropes in this business. And therefore, I'm a strong believer that success is not just all about how many credits or goods you do, but really how many mistakes you can avoid. This mentorship philosophy is very pervasive in the Amway culture. Because as what our motto says, it's all about helping people live better lives. Just like when I told Clara and Wei Lun that my role today is really to take what I was taught in the business and passing it on to the younger generation so that they can use them to create their own legacy. But we now have a catch, which is the COVID-19. And I also agree that what I've learned about a business in the past may not be all relevant and applicable as we go forward. So right now, I think I have a role as a mentor to them. But these young people are also teaching me new things because in a way, we are right now learning from each other to create the Amway of our future.
You know, I really like this mentor and student kind of relationship because we are really learning from each other about a lot of different things on how to build this Amway business going forward in the next 10 years, in the next 20 years. And I just want to give my take on this simplified portion of the Amway business. Yes, we said it's simplified, but one point I want to impress on everyone is that entrepreneurship is tough. You know, when I had to build the umbrella business from scratch, I did not know how to go about penetrating the market. You know, I went actually to the streets to ask people for their feedback, for their comments on the umbrella. I actually went to Central Park to do it. And as you know now, it's been changed to like a temporary, kind of like a hospital for COVID-19. But, you know, so I actually went out to approach them. I passed them like a small card for them to remember our name, our brand. You know, I'm sure that isn't the best way to sort of doing like a marketing or the outreach for people to know about it. But there wasn't anyone to tell me what to do. And nothing is easy, but it is even tougher when there's no one to guide. So we have to be very real, I think. Will any business owner actually teach you the ropes of their business? There might be a few, but have you ever had a chance to meet one? Say you want to open a cafe or you want to open a coffee, you know, like a subscription kind of a coffee business. Can you actually go to, you know, a Starbucks or Coffee Bean to actually get their CEO or founder to teach you to do it? You know, you might not ever have the chance to actually meet them. But I actually met someone, and I think today you did as well. So really just want to touch on this point that, you know, for the past, you know, 1 year spent with a mentor Ho Chong, you know, he has taught me more about entrepreneurship than my 6 years of figuring it out on my own. And why? Because I'm learning from his consolidated 18 years of experience in entrepreneurship. You know, so the thing is that the longer you are in entrepreneurship, the more challenges you're going to face, and the more you are going to know how to deal with things. So he sees a lot of opportunities, problems, and trends that are far wider and further than I do. And I think I'm very fortunate to have went through this period of COVID-19 with his guidance, because I think without him, I wouldn't have learned how to deal with another pandemic in future. And that is the point about simplified. Someone is there, like he mentioned, to hold your hand and guide you.
Okay, thank you, Wei Lun, for all the compliments. That's interesting. But that's the point I want to bring out when we talk about Amway being a simplified business. You can learn the ropes from us just to jumpstart your business. Well, the third edge that we want to focus today is flexibility. And I am going to let Clara give her take on this first, because she is right now juggling between a full-time job and also her Amway business. So Clara.
Thank you, Mentor Ho Chong. Like what Mentor Ho Chong mentioned, I'm managing a full-time job as well as my Amway business. So this brings out the point about flexibility. This is why I like about the Amway business, because they give us a choice whether we want to do it full-time or part-time. So it's a 1+1 business. It's our choice. And I think this gives a very good balance of our time as well. Because it's really nice how actually I could use my own free time, my social media times, or even my hobby times to leverage on the Amway platform and build another source of income, especially in a tough economic situation like right now. Because I believe young or old, it's really nice to have an additional source of income, right? Furthermore, I think during this current COVID situation, we also have the flexibility to continue the Amway business. Like for example, right, product and experience trainings, they're all conducted via Zoom calls. And also like products, we can actually share to our friends and customers via social media as well. Right? Because Amway has an e-commerce platform, so our customers, our friends, they can actually go on the e-commerce platform, choose the products they want, submit it, and Amway will actually deliver the product straight away to their home. So it is amazing.
Okay, thank you, Clara. Anyway, I'm just looking at some of the questions that's been posted so far, and we have quite a number of them, and then I must admit that they are not exactly friendly questions. All right, but we'll look at it. All right, and then we hope to give you some answers, and some favorable and very satisfying answers. Just give us some time. We'll come back to all these questions, but I want to just add to what Clara is saying about flexibility, because I definitely have the first-hand experience on this. I mentioned many times already, I started this business 18 years ago. You know, I had a SARS situation, and I was married, and I have a family commitment situation. And at the same time, I have a full-time job that I have to go to. So it's tough, right? Nevertheless, I tell you, I wanted to do this business as a backup to start with. So it was not exactly a full-time commitment in the beginning. So I go to work in the morning, I attended trainings in the evening, I meet my friends, I meet my prospect in the evening to build a business. And this actually continued for about 18 months. And finally, I decided I want to do this full-time. My message is that the situation right now is really very fluid. We can't really wait. We should all just try and do something first at a low risk, at your flexible time. And as the saying goes, we should always prepare for the worst and definitely plan for the best. What do you think, Willon?
I really like this saying of, you know, planning for the worst and preparing for the worst and planning for the best. I think really this point on flexibility is exactly the reason why I could actually start on this Amway business. Because for my case, I think for a lot of people around my age, after we graduate, we just want to get into a job. So when I was working in my Big Four accounting firm, I was introduced to the business, but I did not want to let go of my job because there are a lot of things that goes on with it. Your friends, what your friends will say of you, why are you doing this, etc., etc. So what I did at that time was that in the day I went to work, and at night I learned how to run the Amway business, and I could do that exactly because Amway didn't require a 9 to 5 fixed timing. Amway didn't require me to be stationed at any one fixed place. It is flexible. So in other words, you have the choice, like I did at that point in time, to learn the business, and you can learn the business from us if you want to. So to me, it was just like a switch in really what you want to achieve, and you got to choose where you want to spend your time in. So if you look at the small little slide that I prepared for you, it's really whether you want to spend your free time having fun or make it productive to build like a side business, like a side hustle. It is really up to you. So if you're looking for another opportunity, if you're in a transition from work, or actually I saw a question there that says that, how can we take a turn to start another career? It is very stressing that workplaces are cutting down people. Keep on to it, but really take the extra time that you have to come and learn about the business first. Especially now during the COVID-19, where most of people have extra time at hand, either because you work from home or you're cutting down on the traveling time, the meeting times. Embarking on this Amway business might just be that timely for you. Damon Ho Chong.
Okay, sorry about that. Thank you, Willon, and thank you, Clara. We have almost come to the end of what we have for you today, and we hope that we have inspired one thing or two about Amway as an opportunity from now and post COVID-19. Honestly, we try to keep our presentation short so that we can allow time for interaction in the form of Q&A. And we have already seen quite a number of questions so far. And if you haven't really put in your question, please post them right now, and then we'll be most happy to try to answer them. And if you have anyone particular specific that you want them to answer for you, maybe you like Clara better or maybe you like Weirun better, please also indicate as well. Okay, but while you're doing that, we want to kick off with one of the questions that almost everybody would have. And then we actually planted that question as our first question. And that's, wait, let me see. There's none other than, okay. Oh, something is wrong. Oh, how do you start the Amway business? How about that? Someone actually asked this. Are the questions above asked by someone in the team? This seems to be the political question. I tell you, nothing can be more political than this question. I purposely put this question here. How do you start the Amway business? And in fact, this is the part I get super excited to want to tell you more. I actually can talk about this for like 1 hour, you know, but to save everybody the trouble, in a nutshell, to start, you need to sign up first. Okay? It is like to get onto the plane, you need to get an air ticket. So, but then remember, signing up is not the full process. What you need to know, what you need to do is that continue to keep in touch with your friends who sponsored you into this session. Find out more from them, and I'm sure they will guide you through whatever jumpstart model they have. And you have to remember that Amway Singapore is not new here. They have been here for almost 20 years. We have a proven method that will help anyone to navigate this business successfully. So either keep in touch with your friend or keep in touch with us so that you can be notified of any new sessions coming up. And in fact, we are going to line up a series of this entrepreneur talk in the upcoming months. So keep in touch with us, all right? And then we are going to go on to some questions next, all right? Maybe Clara, can you just read me some questions that you have?
Sure, Mentor Ho Chong. I think there is one question I'd like to raise to you. There are so many opportunities outside. What makes you stay in this business with Amway?
Finished. I'm going to answer now. Okay, great. Thank you, Clara. Okay, as you guys hear, there are many opportunities outside. What makes me want to start? What makes me want to stay in this business? Before we came into this meeting, and as we were preparing for this meeting, during many rounds of our discussion, we came to a conclusion is that we want to provide a very level sharing with everybody here, especially if you are new joining us. We want to be level with you. We also reminded ourselves that we do not want to oversell anything to you, but we are not going to undersell this business. Well, if you ask me, why do I keep on doing this business despite there are so many opportunities? Like I say, it only takes $30 to start. It is not 300. It is not 3,000. And I have to be frank, when I started this 18 years ago, if this business required me to come up with a sum of $3,000 or $5,000, it wouldn't be an opportunity to me anymore. And don't forget that context, it was in the middle of SARS. It's already so fearful and so uncertain. Why would I want to take out $5,000 to try something that I have no experience and that I have no guarantee that I will make it? So doing this for almost 18 years right now, all right, I realized that I've come to an almost similar situation, all right? We are now facing this pandemic of the century. We are now, going through this crisis of our generation. Can you imagine the fear and anxiety that everybody have? But of course, we can't be sitting ducks. We want to try something, right? So I'm offering this to you, all right? only with $30, you may be able to do something magical and make a difference for your future. And so despite all the challenges, I stay on in the business only because I realized that how affordable, how riskless, how simplified this business can be. Because we have to remember, most of us could have spent many years in our employment, doing our job day in, day out. And right now we are all stuck. We are all faced with a problem. But we want to get out of the situation. This is the chance for you to make a try with Amway. So, well, I hope this answer satisfies you. And I know that Wei Lun and Hu and Clara would have some other questions that they would like to answer for you. So maybe Clara will go next, right? Clara?
Yes, I will. I spotted this question, which I think it's really interesting, right? This question is, what advice will you give to young budding entrepreneurs, right? I wouldn't say that it's an advice to you, but maybe I can share with you and my experience as a young person, right? So I think that I remember what Mentor Ho Chong always tells me, that our youth, right, is an asset. But if we don't use our youth times, then it'll be very wasted. So I think it's great that for whoever you are, who is asking this question, I think it's good that you want to do something in your teens or your 20s, right? Because I always think, I always believe that our 20s or our 30s, right? While we are young, it is a very good age, it's a very good time, it's our prime time to do things, to try things. And I believe that there is really no harm in trying the Amway business because like what Mentor Ho Chong actually mentioned, it is riskless, it is simplified, and also it is flexible. Because I understand that there are really many money-making opportunities out there. But like, for example, people like me who come from a non-entrepreneur background, I have no capital, I have no connection, and I have no experience. I know that I won't be able to sustain comparing to all the big boys and big girls, the big companies out there all by myself. But I like the Amway business because I have Mentor Ho Chong to guide me along. I have Amway to manage 90% of all the startup costs that an entrepreneur face. So I think that instead of an advice, I will share with you that if you're looking out, don't be afraid and just try, because while we are young, there's really nothing to lose. And I think Wei Lun, you might want to answer another question.
Thank you, Clara. Actually, I want to pass on one more question to Mentor Ho Chong first, because I think it's a follow-up from the previous one. It says, prior to Amway, what did you have on your lap? Mentor.
Oh, you mean, so I'm supposed to answer, is it? What, say again? What's the answer again? What's the question again? What was it? Sorry, what was the question? Oh, prior to Amway, what did I have on my lap? Other than my belly lah. Sorry. No, serious. Okay, don't forget, I already told, I guess in between what I shared earlier, I already say that Amway is my first business venture. Prior to this, I was a typical business office executive. You know what I mean? I work as a business development manager from some local listed company. So actually, I've never done any business in my life. It's interesting, you know why? Because my dad is a merchant. My dad runs his own business, although not a big one. But he told me from young that study hard so that you can find a good job. He never even want me to be my own boss. That's interesting, But therefore, I followed exactly what he said. I focused on my studies. I went to NUS, I finished with a business degree, and then I joined the workforce just like any other, graduates would do. So really, I was in the workforce for about 12 years. I've never done any business. So prior to doing Amway business, I'm just like everybody else. It's only when SARS hit, all right, when everything becomes so uncertain, you could be trying to save your job. You could be trying to prove to your boss that you're still worth to keep, by trying to be hardworking. But really, right now, it's not about keeping your job anymore. Maybe the boss have trouble keeping his business or his company. So everybody is scrambling. So at that point, I just want to I just want to try something different. And then when I knew that it is so riskless or so low capital outlay requirement for me to start, I just jump upon the wagon. I was thinking, like I said, if I make it, I make it. If I don't make it, well, I just go back to a job. What do I have to lose? Right. So really, it's just, I don't think I have any exceptional capability for me to make it in the business. But really, as mentioned just now about simplified Amway, I had the chance to be showed the ropes of doing this business by someone, by my mentor in the beginning. And I like this mentorship culture, as I mentioned. So rest assured that if you choose to join us right now, you are not going to do this alone. You are not going to walk this journey alone. Someone will be there to guide you. All right. I hope this answers everybody. Okay. So how about we ask Wei Lun to ask a question? I mean, he looked very eager to me. Yeah. Okay. He looked very eager. So let's get Wei Lun to answer the next question. Thank you.
Okay, so there's actually a question that says, how should other business owners look at this Amway business? I think I want to answer this question because having been in business for the past, since 21 years old, I think I've been through many different businesses. And I mean, there are a lot of perspectives the way you can look at this question. So for instance, let's say if let's say you're opening a cafe or you're a restaurant owner. I know my mentor Ochong always likes to give this example. If let's say your family or your parents give you a cafe, everything is set up nicely, the shop is open, you have your staff and everything. Are you able to run it? That's a very key thing that it always occurs to me. So even if let's say someone has all the infrastructure support for me to start a business, do I know how to run it? Because everything is still about understanding and figuring things out on how to run a business. Because every single trade, you got to learn the tricks of the trade. You got to learn from the best people in that particular trade to learn about it. So I would say that other business owners looking at the Amway business, you shouldn't be thinking that I already know it. I already know how to do this business. I know what it entails, and therefore I make a decision whether I want to do it or not to do it. Because really, you wouldn't have understood how this business runs, and that's something that I came in with. I came in with a lot of preconception of how to run this business, and I had a lot of crazy ideas, right? So when I came in to see how this business culture is, how the business is run, I realized, whoa, it's so different. It's something that is so different from how I used to run my e-commerce businesses. There's so much teamwork, like what Mentor Ho Chong said about simplified. You're not going to be used to working with a whole team of people, but slowly you'll really find that working in a team is so much stronger than working alone. So really, how should you look at this business? Amway business is just like any other business, right? There's a product, there's a service, there's customers that you need to reach out to, and you have to provide them with a high level of service such that they become your repeat customers. And having this product, meaning that you have to approach it like any other business that you are going to do. If let's say you're going to sell like a bottle, you're going to sell a bottle online, you're going to craft your own brand. How are you going to market it to people? How are you going to reach out to your consumers? And these are all the things that when you come into the Amway business, you have to think about it as well. And one thing that I still want to impress on everyone is that entrepreneurship is tough, right? It's not that other business owners think that maybe let's say you're running a hotel, and running a hotel versus running an Amway business. I'm not saying that which is harder or which is easier, but every trade, every business has their own difficulties. And this business is made simpler because we are there to guide you, right? So versus other businesses and other trades, I think the three key edge that we have, I think is enough for anyone to really jump into really understanding what this is all about. Like what Mentor Ho Chong mentioned earlier, if all else fails, just go back to your job, right? But if it succeeds, it's a whole new story. Yeah, so let's.
Okay, thank you, Wei Lun. All right. Anyway, we realized that the Q&A is getting more and more interesting, and then we are almost overwhelmed with a lot of questions, and then I'm afraid that we may, no, sorry, it's not me, we likely not able to answer all questions. But we thank you for your interest, we thank you for your excitement. We are very honored. I'm going to ask Claire to answer one more question before, I will go ask Kara to answer one more question, and then I will end this session with a final question from my final answer from myself. Okay, so can I get Clara to answer the next question?
Sure, Mentor Ho Chong. I actually saw this question, which I think is really interesting. What inspired you to keep going in this business? Okay, so I just sharing my own experience. So before I share that, basically back then when I joined the Amway business, first and foremost, it's riskless, it's simplified, as well as it's flexible. But along the years, along the journey, what inspired me to actually keep going in this business is because the Amway platform is a means to my end. So like I'm sure a lot of people out there, they are doing business, they are doing a lot of things out there to earn extra cash so that they can do the things that they want. Like for me, actually, because my reason that inspired me all this while is that because I mentioned my parents, they are very normal, very simple employees, and they have not seen much of the world. I actually wanted to take on this chance to actually earn an additional source of income so that actually I can bring my parents to see the world, bring them and let them see enough of the world before they depart in this entire earth altogether. And like what Mentor Ho Chong actually mentioned, the new normal is that in future, right, airplane flights will definitely be more expensive because like in future there may be social distancing within an airplane. Like an airplane which can carry 50 people may only be able to carry 20, right? But I have to pay extra cost for that. So I cannot imagine if I'm holding the same job I have right now and having to pay even more expense for future, right? I think that will be very tough for me. So what really inspired me all this while to manage my Amway business and also my full-time job is that I really hope that I can, through this business, I can bring my parents to see the world. Yep. So I'll pass on back to Mentor Ho Chong to actually answer.
Great. Thank you, Clara. Thank you, Clara. All right. And then, you know, I have this question which is very interesting, and I know I'm supposed to answer only one question, but I'm going to answer two. All right. Because this question is easy. How old are you, Mr. Lim? You look quite young. So this is an easy question, right? All right. I am 51 this year. Okay, so I started doing this business when I was 33, and I'll be turning 51 this year. All right, and seriously, I want to answer this particular question, which is what kind of advice will you give to young budding entrepreneurs? Honestly, this is a tough question, and I really want to take on this question because, like I said earlier, this COVID-19 practically breaks down, disintegrate all the rules that we know about the world. It is a reshuffling of order right now. The world is now on a blank page. Really, it's not, I don't think I want to specifically say this to young people. I think it applies to everybody. I'm not too sure at 33 years old I was young or not, but I was forced into a situation whereby I have to take a drastic change in my life so that I can make a real difference in my future. It may not necessarily mean, it may not mean that because I was young, I got nothing to lose, therefore I tried, because I have a bad situation. And I think we are all in a bad situation right now. So whether you are young or whether you're middle-aged or even whether you are, you know, you think that you're over the top, it doesn't matter, because as long as you start, that is a good start. You know, someone did ask me this question, and I read somewhere it says that a lot of people is asking, when will this COVID crisis end? And I remember the best answer I heard was, this crisis will end the moment you know what is your next plan. Well, everybody is anxious, everybody is panicking, everybody doesn't really know what's going to happen to this COVID-19. And or maybe you'll be thinking that you'll be over by next month. Good for you. But I guess we should all take this chance to start afresh, despite your age, and especially for the younger generation. All right, before you even thinking about finding your next job, you should give yourself the opportunity to really paint an entirely different future for yourself, and not just like every one of us who have gone the path of everybody else, you know, studying and going and finding a job and then work till the day we die. And this COVID-19, yes, is difficult, but it is also the chance for us to really make a difference. Because right now, honestly speaking, all of us are in the same shoes. We all have nothing to lose. So I hope that this is a good answer for you. I'm afraid that we can't go on anymore. And really, before we go, all right, I would like to leave you this thought. Every next level of your new life will always demand a different you. And with that, I hope that you can help us by giving us feedback on how we fared tonight. All right, remember, best you give us good feedback lah. All right, so that we will have the chance to come back and speak to you again. But really, thank you for your time. We totally enjoy the session tonight. And meanwhile, hope that everybody can stay safe, everybody can stay healthy. And we hope to see you soon. So thank you, everybody. See you next time. Good night.